What's going on, all you wild variants? Two favorite rascals back here. Loki Myers, my good mate over there.
Loki Hill.
Loki Hill? What are you, the spitting image of me? We're back tonight talking about episode 3 of Loki titled Lamentis. Ooh, that sounds kinky. Episode 3, we've been having a great time with this thus far. The first 2 episodes we reviewed right here on our YouTube channel last week. We had a great time with that, kind of the Evil Dead ending to it, and setting up for the episode tonight that just premiered on Disney Plus. And damn, it was a fun time for sure. This episode was more like a Doctor Who meets Star Wars episode, and it gets really wild pretty quick in this. A lot of great things happen. We get the, I guess, introduction of the character Sylvie. We were introduced to her last episode. We didn't really know who she was, but Sylvie's character and her relationship, or lack thereof, with Loki in this episode.
This was a really fun episode. It was kind of like a buddy up, pair them up, take them out of the TVA that we've been seeing for the first couple episodes and throw them in this new setting, this new environment on this moon planet called Lamentis 1. At the beginning of the episode, we left off at the last episode where, Lady Loki escaped and she was headed to find the timekeepers, basically. So at the beginning of this episode, we see her at the TVA trying to get to where the timekeeper's at. She knows that she has to get to these gold elevators in the TVA. And, eventually Loki obviously goes after her at the end of the last episode. He goes after her and follows her. He finds her down at the end of the hallway. All the, the TVA soldiers there, the hunters, I guess they're called, are, onto their trail. They're just about to get her. Loki grabs the temp pad out of her pocket and presses a button, and it's going to take him to this other apocalypse that's happening. And it happens to be on this planet, Lamentis 1, in the year 2077. And Lamentis 1 is a moon where a planet's going to crash into, and Sylvie mentions that it's the worst apocalypse possible that he could pick. Basically, there's no survival on this. So they're going to have to figure out their way how to get off Lamentis 1 before it's blown up and they're goners forever.
Yeah, and it sets up some really great set pieces having to do with them getting on this train, and really kind of getting more of the dialogue in this episode of them getting to know one another. And it was pretty interesting getting to hear, her backstory more. Loki's talking about Asgard, and also finding out that they're both bisexual. That I don't think they've ever brought that up with Loki, and that I can remember in any of the movies. Talking about, if they have a significant other, back home or whatever. He's like, I have a prince and a princess. So showing, oh, he is bisexual. So that's kind of cool. It's 2021. It's nothing, out of the ordinary these days. But I think it's kind of cool that they did that with Marvel and Disney, saying, with everything going on with people today, it's okay to be bisexual. It doesn't really change anything.
For Loki's character, he's always changing into everything different anyway. So if anybody was going to be, different and, bisexual, LGBTQ, Loki, obviously is a good choice for that. So yeah, that set up an interesting dynamic between him and Sylvie. Sylvie sort of tells him that she likes to be called Sylvie. He calls her Lady Loki, I believe, and she's like, no, just call me Sylvie. I prefer that. They have a lot of good dialogue together, and there are a lot of good fight scenes in this episode too, involving Sylvie. She has some really kick-ass fight scenes, so I really liked seeing that, and the two of them together trying to get off this moon and try to find this power source for the temp pad, which is basically just about dead, and they need to find a power source. So that leads them onto this mission to go find a power source, which leads them to this lady who's living alone in a house. Loki kind of looks in the window, sees a picture of her, and it looks like she had a husband before, and obviously he's dead now. So he morphs into the dead husband, and he basically says, I love and miss you, let me in. It looks just like her husband, but she knows it's Loki right away because the husband's never been that nice in all the time that they were together. So she blasts him off the porch, shoots him out the porch. But then she's nice. She's like, yeah, you guys are going to have to go find the train, which is headed to the Ark, and you'll be able to find a power source, through there. So they have to go find this train. And they get to the train station where everybody's getting on. And this reminded me a lot of Snowpiercer. Yep. Where there's sort of a class system getting on. The richer people are the ones getting on the train, being treated better. So there were some nods to Snowpiercer on this one with them getting on the train.
I was thinking that too. I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
that up. It
Yeah.
reminded me a lot of that, like mixed with like Star Wars and then Doctor Who as well.
Yep.
Just like the set pieces and stuff like that kind of just reminded me of that. And one of my favorite scenes of this episode is when Loki gets pissed drunk and he's all singing like Asgard songs.
Yeah.
Like you
Great
would
scenes.
imagine like a drunken uncle, like we always talk about. That's what it reminded me of. And it was, you kind of just totally blew it and showing that, hey, this guy's up to something and, you know, people are onto him and, you know, set up more fight sequences. But I thought that whole scene with him and Sylvie was fantastic. And her trying to rest before they try to go find this power source and he just ends up getting drunk. That's how he relaxes. He's getting all shit faced. A really funny scene. And, you know, Tom Hiddleston, really great actor. I love his portrayal of Loki, especially in this episode. I thought he did a really great job with it. Had some fun with it. You could tell he was having fun with the character and his own, you know, stuff to it.
He's having a great time on the show. I love to see him in these dance sequences and singing along, having a great time, not thinking of anything about, you know, trying to be caught or anything. And of course, yeah, like you mentioned, Sylvie's resting and she wakes up to find Loki being questioned by the guards on the train, which leads to Loki being thrown out the side of the door. So Sylvie has to jump out too of the train. And in the process, the temp pad gets ruined, gets destroyed in Loki's pocket when he's thrown out the train. So now they're really stuck. The only, it shows some scenes after that where they're talking about what they're going to do now with the temp pad being busted. And basically their only shot at escaping is to make it to the Ark, which is this spaceship basically that's going to blast them out of there before the planet explodes. When they finally do get to the Ark, that whole city there reminded me of Blade Runner, which was another nod in this episode, another sci-fi nod. The whole town with the neon lights and everything reminded me of Blade Runner here.
I thought that exactly. You're like in my mind right now, Loki. Still, because I was thinking that just the vibrant colors and things like that. I'm like, what is this, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner? Because I absolutely love that. Yeah. And you know the stakes are really high. They're running out of time. Somehow they're walking and made it there in like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
right. I don't know if you caught on to that part, but they got there pretty quick by foot, which is kind of like most movies. They always have to travel somewhere and they get there super quick. But things don't turn out really great, and you know, leading to the final 3 episodes of the season, I don't know what they're going to do from here. You know, what's great about the show, it's like you predict something's going to happen, it goes a different way. So I thought it would be more of a happy ending, but not so much.
It was a very good middle episode. You know, there's only 6 episodes, so this one was the one right in the middle. It's going to lead us to the final 3. And yeah, the way things end up, you don't know where it's going to go from here, how they're going to get out of this situation. Was Sylvie looking for the timekeepers before? Are we ever going to meet up with the timekeepers? Just what's going to happen, you know, we know we're going to see some other characters show up in Loki here. So it's going to be great to find out what happens to these 2 characters. I really love this episode. It was a cool little standalone side mission episode where they went to a, you know, someplace in the future. This time they've went in the past for the first couple episodes. This time they jumped to the future to this moon planet. And it set up an interesting dynamic between Sylvie and Loki, finding out more about their backstory. We obviously, you know, we find out a lot about Sylvie. She's holding the cards close to her, you know, close to herself. She's not revealing everything here, but we do learn that she is a variant. Her name is Sylvie in this episode. And, you know, she really wants, another thing that they do find out, Sylvie tells Loki that the timekeepers didn't create the TVA and that everybody at the TVA are variants. They just don't know it. So that is a nice little
twist there. Yeah, I didn't expect that. They're all basically memory wiped human variants that were plucked from the timeline and put in the TVA and to be part of this bureaucracy. So that's pretty interesting. So Mobius wasn't born in this position. He used to be like a fast food worker, In-N-Out Burger or something. Wow.
Wow. I hope we do find out what he did before. I'd like to see a flashback showing what he did.
I don't know if they will because there's only 3 episodes left, but maybe they will. It'd be interesting to see where he was in the past, or at least they talk about it. But that's pretty interesting that they're all, you know, human variants that were, you know, brought from the timeline to be part of the TVA. They weren't born into it or anything like that.
And we didn't see old Uncle Owen in this episode at all.
No.
So
I was kind of sad.
I have a feeling Yeah, he was definitely missing from the episode. Although, I really enjoyed Sylvie and Loki together. But yeah, I figured he would have showed up at the end or something. But I'm sure he'll be back in full force for the last three. It's Owen Wilson. So we're going to be seeing his character. He's going to have to come try to find the two, I'm assuming. So we'll be seeing more of him. But yes, he didn't show up in this episode.
Yeah, for sure. And I had a pretty good time with this. They kind of went a different direction, like you said, more in the future than going in the past. Lamentis was the name of the episode. I had a good time with it, seeing more of the character development, Sylvie, finding out some more backstory of her, where she came from, and their relationship with Loki, and them trying to, find this power source and not ending so good for them. I'm really interested to see where this all goes, what they're going to do in the next or final three episodes, and if they're going to answer all the questions that I have. But really great episode. Reminded me much of a lot of sci-fi movies that we talked about: Snowpiercer, Blade Runner, Star Wars, Doctor Who. They didn't go the normal way of going about like a crime procedural episode. It's more like a sci-fi adventure, and I had a good time with it. So that being said, I give episode 3, Lamentis, a 3 out of 5 Sylvie hair pieces.
Woo. I really enjoyed this episode. It was a nice little standalone, different than what we've seen in the first two. It provided some answers, a little bit into what Sylvie is up to. Obviously, we learned Sylvie's name. That's what she's calling herself anyway. Not everything was revealed. We did learn that the people on the TVA are all variants. They just don't know it, so their brains have been wiped. So that's very intriguing. I wonder if Loki's going to spill the beans when he gets back to the TVA and let them know, or how that's going to come into play. If Agent Mobius is privy to that information, who's going to come and rescue these two lads? How are they going to get off? What's going to happen? I mean, Lamentis was basically blowing up at the end. So what's going to happen to them? All very interesting. We know that they're going to survive, obviously, and somehow get out. I can't wait to see where the series goes from here. This was a good middle episode of the 6. This was the 3rd episode. I had a great time with it. I loved all the sci-fi callbacks in here, all the nods to those movies that we mentioned. So overall, I had a great time with this episode. This one worked for me. I missed Owen Wilson, but otherwise, I really enjoyed the 40 minutes. This one was also a shorter episode than the first two. But I had a great time with it, and I am going to give it a 4 out of 5 Mobius hair pieces. Whoa.
We'll be back each week for the final 3 episodes of Loki, each Wednesday night, reviewing the newest episode, having a great time with that. Besides that, we have more videos right here on our YouTube channel. E3 2021, we released the Bad Batch episode 6 and 7 review, and head on over to our YouTube channel, check out those videos, like and subscribe and comment. Let us know what you guys think. Also, check us out on Cinephellas.com, our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thank you guys so much for following us. Do not forget to click subscribe. We love all the new followers lately. We've gained some today, sports, so that's good news. With that being said, we are all finished up for our Loki episode 3 Lamentis review. We'll be back next week for the 4th episode. Let's see what happens from here. I can't wait to see, Uncle Logan. What year and where will we be transported next?
They're going to go back to 1985, the year I was born, and they're going to find out about Marty McFly and Huey Lewis in the News.
Oh my God! I would love a Back to the Future crossover. How amazing!
Hey, Doc!
Yeah, take Loki to the '80s for sure. I want to see some more singing and dancing. Throw some '80s songs in there.
I would pay to watch that for sure.
Well, as we like to say here at Cinephellas, until next time, cheers!